There is a place that is spoken about only in whispers, a dark area that spawns the beginnings of urban legends, a place where anything can happen and usually does. During the light of day it hides just outside of view, but when the sun goes down, spirits, creatures of the night roam free, and things do go bump in the night. It is in every state and every country, and there is no escaping it, no matter how safe you feel behind your locked doors and latched windows. So we invite you to turn down the lights and turn up your radio while we join Dave Schrader and Tim Dennis, your hosts, on a journey into the darkness on the edge of town.
Hello and welcome. It's Monday and you're tuned in to the best in paranormal talk radio. This is Beyond the Darkness. I'm your host, Dave Schrader. Along with me over at the Supernatural News Desk, Mr. Tim Dennis. Hello, Tim.
Hello.
That's it? Just hello?
Oh, hi there.
There, that sounds a little bit more exciting. You feel like I caught you sitting on the toilet. Is everything okay?
Well, no, you did catch me on the toilet. And I've been in here for about 8 to 9 hours.
Good God, man. Give up the Vicodin.
Well, it's the combination of Vicodin and never attack a 10-pound block of cheese, Dave, in a whole Sunday afternoon. It turns out that being bored and eating at the same time is never a good thing.
No.
You want to eat when you're more motivated.
Yeah. But that's never when it hits me. It's when I'm bored I want to eat the most. Hey, we've got some cool stuff coming up this week, including tomorrow, True Crime Tuesday. This is another really cool episode. Unlike any of the episodes we've done, we're going to be talking to an undercover agent, Tim, who worked on busting up one of the biggest drug rings and it was undercover dealing with Pablo Escobar's group. And, yeah, they just did a movie last year starring Bryan Cranston from Breaking Bad. He was in the movie. John Leguizamo was in the movie. Benjamin Bratt was in the movie. Michael Pare was even in the movie. Boy, throwback on there. A lot of great actors. And this is a really remarkable story. And we'll hear the real story behind the Hollywood movie. And fascinating stuff. Now, listen. That was already recorded. I recorded it. It's a full 2-hour block. That's how much information this guy had to give to us. So there was no time for dumb crime, stupid criminals. But because we love you people, Tim and I, we love you. We're going to give you an addendum. We'll give you about a 20 to 30 minute blast of Dumb Crime, Stupid Criminals. That's going to be up on the Patreon site, and it'll be free. So for all of you subscribers, you'll get the full 2-hour episode, and you'll get the Dumb Crime, Stupid Criminals. And for those of you who are still on the fence post and have not subscribed, you can go in and hear Dumb Crimes and Stupid Criminals and give it a listen for yourself. And we've got some great stories for that show, including a Duke boy gone bad, Tim. It seems the law finally did catch up with the Duke boys, and it has to do with crack, Tim. That's all I'm going to say.
But, Dave, they're never meaning no harm.
Well, they were in this case. At least Luke Duke was. And we'll be talking about that tomorrow. We've got other fun stories. But here's something great that we put together for our listeners, Tim, and I'm pretty excited about this. Everybody that has subscribed already, and anyone that subscribes up until September 1st, if you're still on the fence post, not sure you want to do this, give it a listen, try it out. First of all, it's month by month. You can always cancel. If you get it and just don't like it and don't see the value of having 90 to 120 minutes of some of the best true crime talk radio anywhere, then you can always cancel, and it's only $5 out that month. But everybody that subscribed from the beginning until September 1st is automatically entered into a drawing. Tim, we're going to give away one-year subscription to True Crime Tuesday. No, I lied. We're going to give two 1-year subscriptions away, Tim.
Really?
No, not really. We're going to actually give away 3, and that's where I'm drawing the line, Tim. 3.
I'm going to stop saying really, because the number's going to get higher.
Exactly. So. No, we're going to stop at 3. 3 1-year subscriptions for everybody that is subscribed by September 1st. So whether you subscribed when it first came out or you subscribed on August 31st, you're still a part of the drawing. We will draw 3 people at random, and you will receive a 1-year subscription to True Crime Tuesday, so you never miss another minute in the best of true crime talk radio. So if you're still on the fence post, sign up now. This is a great chance, and you'll be entered in for a chance to get a free subscription. How do you do that? Go to darknessradio.com. That's darknessradio.com, and click on the True Crime Tuesday banner. You can subscribe now. Again, it's only $5 a month. You get 4 new episodes that are at least 90 to 120 minutes long, and they are some of the most fascinating and interesting cases. Plus, you get dumb crimes and stupid criminals for $1.25 an episode. So there's no reason you shouldn't sign up and give it a shot. You're going to love it. We pour our heart and soul into that show. And again, just as a reminder, that one show and you subscribing for $5 a month also helps us to sustain, to keep this show going as well. So please help us out. Help us to get to our goal. We'd like to hit 2,500 people here by September 1st. We're at about, I think, 1,450 right now, so we're not that far away. We'd love for your help. Go sign up and become a member now and be entered for a drawing for 3 individual people to win a 1-year subscription to True Crime Tuesday. You can take advantage of that. Speaking of new changes, Tim, there is no other podcast app like this. The all-new Podcast One app is available at the App Store or Google Play Store. You can find out everything about your favorite shows. You can get more content from our show, Beyond the Darkness. You'll find articles, social media, episodes, and you can make playlists. It's easy to comment and connect with other show fans, and we even have our own little community right on there, Tim.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, so you can go check that out. You can share your favorite content, see behind-the-scene photos, and they have a 360-degree video, or you can watch of a bunch of the different shows that you hear on Podcast One in virtual reality. There's over 1,000 videos on there right now. It's like you're in the studio with them, and it looks so cool with so many things that you can do, including fun things like rewards for listening. Go check it out. Go to Podcast One in the Google Play or iPhone App Store and get that download now, the brand new updated version of the Podcast One app. So even if you have the old version, go get the brand new version and get into that. It's a great deal. We've got a lot of stuff to cover tonight. Supernatural news, a lot of great stories, and we'll do some ParaShare at the end of the show. Some of your stories that you've shared with us of the supernatural. And I hope everyone enjoyed our special episode last Friday. Jim Mars was a gentleman and a great guest. He was on our show a few times over the years. He's been a regular contributor to Coast AM, and he will definitely be missed. That is a deep impact in the field. Yeah, most definitely. It's it's always sad too, Dave, when we lose somebody in the field. It's too bad that it seems like we realize the impact when they pass, and we never really celebrate those people while they're here. So just take a quick moment, if you will, and take that favorite person that you have in the paranormal and maybe go to their social media and just tell them that you appreciate them sometime during the week and let them know that you're thinking about them, that you appreciate the research, that you appreciate what it is that they bring to the field and what they bring as far as the little extra something special to your life. Because a lot of these people go out and they bust their behinds to bring a little something, a little extra insight into your life. And a lot of times there's not a lot of reward behind that as well. So Jim Mars, you'll be missed, and very much so, yeah. David McAfee is joining us tomorrow, and he's written a book, No Sacred Cows, talking and taking on cults and religion and the paranormal. And he is a skeptic with a capital S. Great guy, though, fascinating guy. And we're going to spend, I think, about 90 minutes tomorrow with him for Beyond the Darkness. So that's a great episode. And he's a skeptic that is very easy to talk to, Tim. He's kind of in the vein of Dr. Michael Shermer. He's very nice and very open to the ideas and possibilities of the paranormal. So that's on our show tomorrow. Let's get started with some supernatural news. Where will we begin this evening? We begin, Dave, with the case that doesn't seem to go away, and I'm talking about the case of Stan Romanek. It seems like you put something on Netflix, and it's not going to go away for a very long time. And I put it in that vein as opposed to other veins because really, people are really getting behind the idea that maybe Stan Romanek was railroaded.
And,
right. For those of you that don't know, Stan Romanek has been a guest on our show in the past. We have elected to stay away from having him back on, even though his new documentary is on Netflix, and it talks about his alien abductions, alien communication, the fact that he may be a starseed helping to repopulate the universe. And interesting guy. Yeah. Weird stories, lots of fascinating evidence, but he is also currently under investigation for a child pornography and sending it out, receiving it, and that's a weird little story in itself.
Right.
So,
very much so.
Yeah, that is a very bizarre thing, and that is why we're holding off from having him on. But we're going, because people keep hitting me up on a weekly basis, I said to Tim, we should just keep reporting on this as the story progresses so they understand why we don't have Stan Romanek on. And because it does talk about somebody very prominent in our paranormal field. So what is the newest update? What's going on?
Newest update is that a defense team is building a case in the Stan Romanek trial as the court is breaking, or it did break for the weekend. Prosecutors have established that police noted child pornography for years at Romanek's IP address. This isn't just a one-time thing or a case of maybe being railroaded, according to police.
Does that seem weird to you? Again, I don't know the extent of this, but if you're watchdogging and you see somebody, okay, maybe you give somebody the benefit of the doubt. Maybe they looked once, saw it, and realized what they were getting into and never went back, so you don't go into it. Maybe even a second time.
Right.
But when you're seeing that there's a pretty steady stream coming in and going out, how long do you wait to let this continue to perpetuate? How many children are being exploited, raped, possibly murdered that are part of this story before you start breaking it down?
You know, that's a very good question. There's such a saying and such a belief that even one instance is too much. And then there's the acceptable. I don't even want to say acceptable. Acceptable is not the word.
No, I know what you're saying, though. Right.
The threshold of you need to build a case.
Right.
And that's what that threshold is and where the line needs to be drawn. In this story, witnesses in the child pornography trial against Loveland, Colorado resident Stan Romanek called into question the defendant's whereabouts during suspicious computer activity on his home internet connection on Friday. Romanek was arrested in 2014 after a long-term investigation into files containing child pornography on his home internet service provider address. Police were led to search the Loveland home on April 12, 2013, which yielded hundreds of illicit images stored on computers in the home, according to police arrest documents. In opening arguments on Tuesday, defense attorneys in the trial, Elizabeth and Theodore McClintock, told the jury evidence would provide Romanek was only associated with the IP address on which images were transferred, not the images themselves. The McClintocks attempted to elicit an alibi for their client, with the first witness, 37-year-old David Reeves, called by the defense on Friday. Reeves said he met Romanek 17 years ago when the defendant and his wife, Lisa, took him into their home after Reeves suffered a period of homelessness. During previous testimony from prosecution witness Darren Ford, a detective with the Northern Colorado Regional Forensics Laboratory, it was revealed some of the suspicious files holding illicit images on the Romanek's computers saw activity on April 8th of 2013. However, Reeves said both Romaneks visited his home in Colorado Springs on April 8th of 2013, stating the couple were his first house guests in a home he had recently moved into. Defense counselors even produced a copy of a receipt from a coffee shop in the Colorado Springs area that Reeves reportedly visited with the Romaneks that same day. The receipt was admitted into evidence despite an objection from prosecutors with the 8th Judicial District Attorney's Office. Previous testimony from two Department of Homeland Security agents who investigated suspicious activity on Stan Romanek's IP address as early as 2008 identified illicit images stored on his computers during that time period as well. I believe it's Yari Mikola, another friend of Romanek's who met the defendant during the course of a 2007 paranormal investigation at Romanek's house, was next to testify. Romanek has gained a following as a self-proclaimed paranormal, alien abduction, and UFO expert. Mikola stated he once went out to dinner with the Romaneks and remembered leaving his laptop and iPhone at the Romanek home before locking all the doors, and returned to find someone had likely broken into the home and opened and logged onto his laptop and moved his phone, leaving a glass sliding door into the home open in the process. Upon cross-examination from Deputy District Attorney Mitch Murray, Mikula admitted no one ever contacted police about the alleged break-in, and that even when the Romaneks had asked him to help remove unwanted files from their computers, that they never mentioned anything about child pornography appearing on them. Judge Susan Blanco denied a motion from defense counselors earlier in the day to acquit Stanley Romanek of the charges, as Deputy District Attorney Mitch Murray was able to argue successfully that the presence of the images on the computer, combined with file-sharing programs that could distribute the images to other Internet users, should keep the verdict in the hands of the jury. During a courtroom recess, Theodore McClintock told the Reporter Herald he doubted that the trial would be completed in 8 days as it is scheduled. Elizabeth McClintock said she hopes the trial concludes by Wednesday, crossing her fingers as she did so. After the final witness to testify Friday, the remaining witnesses for the defense were gathered in the courtroom, and Theodore McClintock announced he may release some of them from their subpoenas and elect not to call them during the trial in the interest of the court's time. Testimony in the case resumed today at 8:30 a.m. So there you go.
It'll be interesting to see how that plays out. We will continue to let you know as we get more information about the case, so you don't have to keep asking if we're going to have him on. And the answer is yes, we have had him on in the past. And should things go well and he is acquitted of any of these claims, we will, I'm sure, visit with Stan again. We're not taking a position, and we do not cast aspersions that the man is guilty until the courts do their job to find that information on their own. I mean, we've talked about it, and there was some weird things that I've seen pop up that made me question when this popped up as well. But again, it's not our job to judge, so we will leave it to the court systems to do their job. All right, Tim, where shall we go next?
Well, Dave, we talk now about a possessed China doll, which has struck again. A mother is selling it for £1,000 on eBay after it scratched her husband, only for the new owner to claim his father has now been attacked by it too. Debbie Merrick's doll appeared on this morning after it attacked her husband. She sold it later on eBay to Lee Steer from South Yorkshire for £886. So she took a loss. Let's get into the
she took a loss. Actually, wasn't she going to, if she couldn't sell it, she was going to donate it to a museum or something? I thought I remembered from that story.
I believe so, yeah. A haunted doll flogged on eBay after it left its owners terrified and covered in scratches is struck once again. It's a serial scratcher, Dave. We call
actually, I could use one of those, especially my back. I've got some itches I just can't get to.
It feels so good, though, when you get that deep scratching on the itch on the back.
Yeah, and especially in those little porcelain china hands. Yeah, ooh, scratch it.
They get right in there, right over the shoulder blade, when you get right inside. Oh, it's so good. Debbie Merrick's creepy figure appeared on ITV's This Morning after she revealed its spooky antics, which included setting off fire alarms and removing its own necklace. Its own necklace, Dave.
Wow, why does it have its own necklace? I don't even have my own necklace.
I know. I don't either. Maybe because it's got bling like that. I don't know.
Could be.
Lee Steer from Rotherham, South Yorkshire, bagged. And by the way, I don't care about the pronunciations. Don't email me. I don't care. I'm going to slaughter them anyways. Bagged the coveted creepy item for £866 after a tense international bidding war between paranormal enthusiasts. But just 2 days after the doll arrived at the 30-year-old paranormal investigator's home, where he lives with his parents, Paul and Amy Steer, it struck again, Dave.
Dun, dun, dun.
Paul, or Lee's father, 54-year-old Paul, discovered scratches on his arm, mimicking those supposedly inflicted on Debbie's partner that were thought to be the same size as a doll's hand, Dave. The same size as a doll's hand.
How much pressure does a doll's hand have to make? And here's the deal. If you wake up and there are scratches, how did you, A, not feel the scratches, right, and B, not notice that the doll is scratching you?
Yeah, and if you wake up and a doll is lightly scratching you, do you tell it to go up and to the left a little bit more?
I would. Maybe down and to the right, if you know what I mean. Why wouldn't this doll immediately be put into a box and duct taped? Let's see it get past duct tape.
That's right. Nothing gets past duct tape.
Nothing gets past duct tape.
And if it gets past the duct tape, Gorilla Glue.
Yeah.
Nothing ever gets past Gorilla Glue. Lee said my dad was downstairs in the morning, and at this point the doll was still packed away, and he heard like a tapping noise on wood. That's not wood, Junior. He said it was a bit unusual. Later that day, he was watching the repeat of one of our live streams with the doll. I was doing a live stream upstairs in my room. Wait a minute. What was he live streaming? Wink, wink, nudge, nudge, say no more. Then he said to my mom, my arm's hurting. He lifted up his sleeve and he had 6 scratches on his arm. My mom shouted to me, Lee, you best get downstairs. Your dad's getting affected. He's got scratches on him. It seems pretty similar to the scratches on Debbie's husband, from what I can tell. We have no idea where they came from. Oh my God! It's
well,
like
I thought they did. I thought they said it's the doll.
Well, have you seen the picture of the scratch?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm not putting these people down. It may be happening, but again, you're the human. Duct tape the damn doll in a box. Yeah. Styrofoam it. Boom.
Very cute. Mm-hmm. My dad's a believer. He said he's not happy with it being in the house, he went on to say. And this isn't the only odd experience Lee claims to have had since bringing the doll into his home, with more strange noises, flickering lights, and broken artifacts all noted. Lee said, we were putting stuff away that weekend before it arrived and started talking about it. And all of a sudden, a picture I have on my wall called The Crying Boy started swinging on its own. Funny that the picture's called The Crying Boy. We've gone months without anything unusual happening, and as soon as this doll is mentioned, things start happening. I have another picture propped up on the floor. In the dark, I could hear the sound, and when I put the light on and looked, the picture frame had completely dismantled itself, Dave.
What?
I know, right?
What? I hate those kind of picture frames.
I know. We did a live stream opening of the doll that 35,000 people watched, and the light I used was flickering. It was like a strobe. It was the first time that it had ever happened, and people contacted me saying they could see the doll's eyes moving. I've used a random words app that some people believe spirits can manipulate, and when I've asked it its name, it said Samantha. What a cute name. I mean, that's when I said I really wanted to piss it off, it said, strike Lee. If it's random words, then it shouldn't be making sense, he went on to say. But skeptical Lee says he is embracing it all, with the doll even residing next to its bed, or next to his bed, rather, alongside other objects in his Haunted Objects Museum. Everyone has a museum these days, Dave. Mm-hmm.
So he's got the haunted scratching doll right next to other haunted objects next to his bed?
Yes. That's his museum. Yeah, I know, right?
What is that? Nothing.
Why is there a light inside that one haunted object?
Yes.
All right.
No.
After clubbing together with his fellow Ghosts of Britain paranormal investigators to invest in what he claims is the most expensive haunted item ever bought on eBay.
I don't think that's true, honestly.
I don't either. Lee says he is ready for the doll to put his nerves to the test. Lee said, people say I've got a death wish. I need to see something to believe it. Oh, he's a big guy. He said,
well, for $800, I better get my ass kicked by that doll.
That thing better be dragging me up and down the stairs. He said, I don't believe in ghosts as
by your kibbles and bits.
Yeah, that's right. better be using me for a taffy pull.
Yeah.
He said, I don't believe in ghosts as such, but I do believe in paranormal activity. I want to experience the ultimate. I've been losing my faith recently. Nothing's happened for months, but then this doll came along. This is the first time I've seen this kind of activity in 15 years. It was the background of the woman selling it that interested me.
I bet.
If you go onto eBay and search for haunted doll, then you will see hundreds. There's hundreds of them there, Dave, on eBay. Go figure.
I'm going to start selling some that I've got in my closet. I just think it's time. It's time to start giving back to the community that's given me so much. I'm going to start selling all of those dolls and start paying for my children's college tuition.
There you go. But there was nothing on the listing about the doll being haunted, Lee went on to say. That was out of character for these things, but it makes it more believable. When we first saw that the bidding was at £800, we took a stab in the dark and thought we would try and bid for it to get it. We thought that it would beat the highest price a haunted item has been sold for on eBay as well, which went for $1,025. And I wanted to be a part of history. This doll has beaten it. Oh, he's proud. When we were successful, it was like, wow, we've bought one of the internet's most famous haunted items. Lee even believes he could have found a connection to suggest that the doll has an innate hatred of married men, an explanation for the attacks on his dad and former owners Debbie's husband Cameron. Lee said, we've done some research and found out that it's from America, and it's the kind of doll, and that kind of doll, rather, was given to newly married couples. It's difficult to prove, but we have heard from one woman who claims she had sold the doll on, and that it had come from a house of a woman who had owned 1,000 of these dolls. There's 1,000 women.
How do they know this now? How are they getting this kind of information? I got to call shenanigans.
I don't know.
Not the bar shenanigans. I'm just calling out shenanigans.
He said, we can't find any record of that yet, and we don't know if it is one of the dolls, but it could explain why it doesn't like married men. We're planning to test it out on married couples. We've already had volunteers.
Really?
All right.
Way to spice up the love life, I guess.
Yeah, baby. And the doll's former owner, Debbie, from Kings Lynn, Norfolk, says she isn't surprised that the doll continues to wreak havoc.
Sure.
Debbie said, I was so glad when the doll went, to be honest. I've been keeping myself updated with all that's been happening. It was a real shocker when Lee messaged me to say his dad had been scratched, too. I wasn't surprised when he opened it live and was getting flickering lights. We had that in the hotel the night before we went on This Morning. That's a TV show, evidently, above our table while we were eating downstairs. And then in our room later, as it was weird, they were flickering like crazy, only a bit in the room that the doll was in. I know people are mocking the whole thing. No, we're not. We're with you. But I think the fact Lee's dad was scratched, too, just goes to show that there's something going on with that doll.
There's something going on. Yeah, duct tape it. Let's see what kind of activity happens then. Holy duct tape, Batman.
I say, make it think that it's in a hostage situation.
Yeah, exactly. Put a little blindfold over its eyes. I just don't get it.
Make it think it's in a firing squad.
And I'm not saying, and I think I legitimately think I have a haunted doll in my closet that keeps messing with stuff. Or is the doll haunted, or is the doll just something that the spirit likes to hang around? It's like a chicken and the egg thing. I'm not quite sure what the truth is on either one of those. But, yeah, I'll tell you what. If you guys are interested, you can always email me, dave@darknessradio.com. Not right now because I'm going to be leaving and going out of town later this week to England, so I won't have time to get to those emails. But you can email me and just say you want to buy a haunted doll, and I'll start connecting you. We'll see what I can do to pass along some of the creepy-ass dolls I've got in my closet and out in my garage, wrapped in holy bubble wrap, Tim.
Holy bubble wrap?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
That itself is worth $2,000, Dave, but you'll give him a deal.
I would never do that. But I think we could beat $1,025.
Can you?
I'd like to sure as hell try. All right. Any more to this crazy-ass story?
No, let's wrap that one up.
All right. Where are we off to next?
I can't stand the irony in that one any longer. We go to a paranormal Chicago hotel that has frightened an Air India crew. We're going international, Dave, by way of national activities.
Okay.
It was reported at a bizarre incident. An Air India crew who already probably has a frightening enough life as it is. I mean, you've got food, you've got conditions, you've got all kinds of stuff. They reported that the staff was reportedly experiencing paranormal activity when they got to Chicago. I mean, it's bad enough there's plenty of shootings in Chicago, but now they've got activities in the hotel. It was reported that the cabin crew of Air India, which was assigned to fly to Chicago, has experienced paranormal activities in their hotel. Following this, Deputy Chief Cabin crew wrote a letter to the management explaining the problem which the crew members were facing in the assigned Chicago cabin crew hotel. The letter, it doesn't say which hotel, though, Dave. I really want to know which hotel. The letter, which was written to the management, reads, quote, majority of the crew are facing negative energies through paranormal activities in the hotel. Most of us share rooms and sleep as we feel scared sleeping alone, which is very unpleasant. After operating a ULH, ultra long haul flight, we are not able to get proper rest as these things keep playing in our mind. The Air India spokesperson told the media that the investigation is under process. Let's say you're the front desk person at this Chicago hotel.
Sure.
And you get this letter. And it's the middle of the night.
Uh-huh.
And you open it up and you go, yeah, the guys over there from India, they got a small problem in the room. And they can't sleep so much. And then you call your boss and you go, what do you want to do for him, boss?
Burn it down.
Burn it down?
Burn it down. The only way to go. Cash in on the insurance. I know, guys. I don't know. You know, that's intriguing to me. You got to take it seriously when an entire group of people is like, hey, there's some shenanigans going on here. That is kind of impressive. But that's only one of 2 India paranormal stories this week, isn't it?
Oh yeah, there's a second one here.
Yeah, what else have you got?
This one we have to go all the way to New Delhi, where the pastrami I hear is wonderful.
Oh, it is. It's delish.
Oh, it's amazing. Police yesterday said they were investigating an outbreak of braid chopping, which happened to me in the 90s. That is spooking Indian villagers and has seen a woman murdered amid rumors of witchcraft. Since July, at least 55 women across 5 Indian states have reported waking to find their braids mysteriously lopped off, sparking intense speculation around the assaults. 4 new cases were reported on New Delhi's outskirts on Wednesday, just days after half a dozen similar cases were reported in, I believe it's Gurgaon, south of the capital. All you people in India and New Delhi, please email me at tim@darknessradio.com. That's one corner of the world I haven't heard from yet. We heard her cries, and when we rushed, she was lying on the floor unconscious, said Rohit Yadav, whose 55-year-old mother, Monesh Devi, fell victim in July in Delhi. Her chopped off hair was lying next to her. Well, that's kind of eerie. The string of unexplained attacks has occurred in largely rural areas where superstitious beliefs spark hysteria and allegations of witchcraft. Some villages have held special prayer sessions to ward off evil spirits and begun patrols to protect their women. None of the victims have been harmed in any physical way or robbed. A 65-year-old woman murdered by a mob in Agra, home to the Taj Mahal, was later branded a witch and accused of using sorcery to slice braids, despite no cases being reported in the city. Authorities in Delhi are treating the assaults as crimes, but have no leads thus far, says Surinder Kumar, Deputy Commissioner of Delhi Police. However, they have dismissed claims of witchcraft, leaning more towards the theory that mental illness for cases of copycat attacks could be behind the bizarre events.
So, no, I got to go with witchcraft. That would make complete sense on why you and I are bald. It's got to be witchcraft.
Well, see, Dave, I'm of a mind that this has happened to me once before. See, I shaved my head all the way down to just a braid in the back of my head, and one day it's mysteriously gone. I'm thinking it's witchcraft.
Only makes sense, or it was a friend that had, a heart for you and decided it had to go. The rat tail was gone, Tim. The year of the rat tail was gone. I'm sorry. It's time I come forward with that.
What?
But I did use it in a voodoo doll to control you for the rest of your life. So don't let that worry you. At least it's in good hands. It's with a friend. Where are we going next, Tim?
Is that why I don't have certain control over certain things at certain times? I always wondered.
Perhaps.
We go on to another story here that, hold on just one second. I just got to hit this little button here, and then I get my story. I love technology.
Very Pavlovian of you.
Yeah.
You just hit the button, you get your story. Sure.
I hit the button, I get the food. It's kind of fun that way. Mm-hmm. Here's a story about possible proof of life after death. A man's soul left his body and traveled throughout the universe. Boy, that's a cheap travel plan. Better than Travelocity. No baggage fees. The soul can leave the body and exist independently, according to a man who claims to have traveled through other dimensions since he was 5. What kind of frequent flyer miles do you get on that deal, by the way?
He's racking them up, that's for sure.
I guess. Canadian Todd Akamesis, 47 years old, claims that he has been having out-of-body experiences for 42 years since a near-death experience at the age of 5. The jury is still out on whether an OBE, yeah, you know me, is real or just perceived, but apparently we can all do it relatively easily, according to Mr. Akamesis. I have a rhyme going through my head now when I say Mr. Akamesis. An OBE is the feeling that you are floating outside or above your body. Some experiencers even claim to have seen their own body externally when experiencing an out-of-body experience. It is also said to be what happens during a near-death experience when believers think the soul is about to leave the body for good. The phenomenon was discussed at the 27th Annual Glastonbury Symposium, an annual conference dedicated to the paranormal, conspiracy theories, alternative thought, and New Age philosophies held in the Somerset town. Mr. Akamesis told the symposium he now teaches out-of-body exploration to those who wish to experience the phenomenon. An audience member asked him how it's done. He said, simple, just leave. Kidding. He didn't say that. The man said, I have done it by accident a couple of times, but what is the technique to do it step by step? Mr. Akamesis said, like with anything in life, the distinct thing is to be clear about what you want to do. The Canadian believes in a form of OBE called astral projection, said to be a willful separation of the soul or astral body from the physical body, which is the capable of traveling through the universe. It says in the article here. I think there's one too many words there. There is, of course, no scientific evidence to prove the existence of a soul or consciousness that is separate to brain activity experienced in a living human body, or one that can leave a living body or live on after death, says the quote in the article. Claims of astral projection remain in the paranormal and pseudoscientific arenas. Mr. Akamesis, I almost said Academus, added, if you know the purpose of why you are doing it and the ritual side, astral projection, from my own perspective, we are dealing with metaphors and what explains reality. My belief state changes rapidly. I am no longer looking at physical reality. It is not just out of body. We are consciousness. We are very grounded in this reality, but we are not exclusively physical bodies. Mr. Akamesis said he had experienced events such as leaving his body, looking back and viewing it, and other times leaving the body and looking back on an empty sofa as if his body was gone. Now that would be freaky. You leave your body, you look back, right, and all of a sudden your physical body got up and went and got a sandwich.
That's why I don't. See, that wouldn't bother me. But I'd be afraid of trying that and having somebody else hijack the ship.
See, yeah, and then, then you got to try and look for the ship, and then you got to try and get back in. That's a whole different deal.
Yeah, and I'm being sincere. That really does concern me is when you leave, how protected are you? And from what I've heard, it's easier to slip, other things can slip back in, or sometimes they like a mosquito, they land on your soul while it's out. And then when you pull back in, they're with you. So that does have me, somewhat concerned. I don't mean to sound like a ninny in a scaredy pants all the time, but, I'm a ninny in a scaredy pants.
Well, there you go. He said he had he had explored buildings through remote viewing, and things that should have been here were not. And in some case, items that should have not been there had appeared. He also claimed to have had the experience of walking through walls. Mr. Akamesis explained that these anomalies were because we are dealing with a multidimensional reality, referring to the time his body was not there. He said, a voice said, it's okay, your body is on another level of reality beyond our reality. Oh, no, that's just freaky. He even said that our non-physical minds were all interconnected together through human consciousness, which means someone can read my thoughts right now. That's creepy,
I am, and you should be ashamed of yourself.
Well, I haven't been to church in a while. He added, all minds are joined, interconnect on a level. However, Dutch national Marja de Vries, who says she gained insights into non-physical realities from indigenous cultures, heeded caution for people just to try to leave their bodies out of curiosity. She told the audience, there is the physical body, the non-physical body in time and space, and the non-physical beyond time and space. She claimed to have left her physical body and then subsequently left the arena of time and space as well. She said, I went out of both, and it was a very impressive experience. The intention to do it has been or it has to be a pure intention rather, but it is possible to learn how to switch from one to the other. I would advise not to do it because of curiosity, but to do it because you've got a pure intention to serve the well-being of everyone. If it is just curiosity, there can be a danger in doing it. I want to give you that as a warning. Mr. Akamesis dismissed her warning and then went on to suggest that dreaming was a form of astral projection. He said, "We do it every night. It is very safe, and I encourage people to experiment." So one person is saying, "Hold the fort. It ain't that safe. It's not as safe as you think it is." Mr. Akamesis is saying, "Hey, you know what? Go on out there and check out the universe." So there you go.
We've talked about this on the show for 12 years. I'm intrigued by the aspect. But you know what? I don't know if it's just the older I'm getting, the fear of death and all of that, the idea of leaving my body. I don't know, man. I don't know. You know, you wonder if that's what happens to some of these people that are in good health and taking care of themselves and then just slip away one night.
Yeah, you would think it could kind of catch up with you and get you in reverse. I feel you on that. Like you slip out, you think you're just slipping out for a nice little visit out into the astral wild, and one day you just never come back. Or better yet, you just never come back and something else steps in and somebody else is living your life. Well, you're just kind of an astral stranger, which, by the way, Astral Stranger is both the name of my new album and a brand new move in my repertoire.
Sounds like a porn move.
It does, doesn't it?
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Astral Stranger.
Honey, hold
Hello!
Honey, hold still. I got a new move called the Astral Stranger.
Oh, good God.
But it's one of those things where, you know, you almost think you don't want to mess with things too much that you're not familiar with, and you almost want to have someone at your side that you know has done this before, you know. I don't know. This subject intrigues me in that I would love to try it. I would love to do this. I don't have a lot of fear when it comes to it, but I don't want to be the guy who like astral projects and ends up, you know, in like a Wonder Bread container somewhere and never comes back. You know, I expect a grand adventure to like the end of the universe, and I end up in something very mundane for the rest of my life.
That could be.
Yeah. All
right, where are we going to go next?
Next, we will. Let's see here. I'm trying to save some of these for the big bang at the end of the segment here. Let's do this story here. This could be. Go to this story here. Crop circles. That's what we're talking about. Crop circles. The truth. I know you didn't think there was a non-truth, but the real reason for bizarre wheat field patterns has been revealed. And
all of a sudden, your voice has gotten really far away and creepy sounding.
It did?
Yeah, you sounded like you're drifting away on me, Tim. Don't go, Tim. Don't go. Stay in the light, Tim. Stay in the light.
I swear, I'm not astral traveling.
Yeah, we've got a weird connection right now.
Really?
Yeah. Well, let's do this. Let's take a quick break. We'll come back. We've got more supernatural news, and we've got some ParaShare stories to share as the show continues.
Beyond the darkness.
We're back. This is Beyond the Darkness, Supernatural News, ParaShare Monday edition. I'm your host, Dave Schrader, and at the Supernatural News Desk, Mr. Tim Dennis. How many more stories do we have out there, Tim?
Yeah, let's see here. By quick count, I believe about 5.
Well, let's power through as many as we possibly can, then we'll get into some ParaShare stories. What have you got next for us?
We're talking crop circles, Dave. Crop circles. And the truth. The real reason for the bizarre wheat field patterns has been revealed. A businessman has sensationally claimed he knows why crop circles form, and it's not by hoaxers using planks of wood. It just isn't. Roland Bejan said he was part of a group that created a crop circle by focusing their minds on the pattern that then formed in a Wiltshire wheat field. Mr. Bejan said a group of 8 people used co-creation to summon whatever is responsible for making the mysterious and symbolic patterns which appeared in fields largely across the southwest of England. Crop circles allegedly made by landing UFOs have been widely considered one of the world's biggest paranormal hoaxes since 1991, when Doug Bauer and David Chorley were filmed showing how they made many of the reported cornfield patterns discovered across the UK. The duo said they simply used wooden planks and rope to flatten corn in a circular fashion. The pair started the tomfoolery in the 1970s to tease locals who believed in UFOs. In the latter half of the 1990s, more circle makers who tried to outdo each other used the most complicated designs and started to emerge throughout the world. But despite the hoaxers outing themselves many years ago, there are now others, including Mr. Bejan, who refuse to believe they could make the highly geometric patterns and say there may be something much more paranormal behind them. Mr. Bejan, who has researched crop circles for 23 years and is the chairman of the Dutch Center for Crop Circle Studies, made the outlandish claim to a packed audience of the 27th Glastonbury Symposium, an annual conference dedicated to the paranormal, conspiracy theories, alternative thought, and New Age philosophies on Friday. In a lecture on the phenomenon, Mr. Bejan said he had been involved in the co-creation of a crop circle in the Black Horse Pub at Share Hill near the famous Chalk White Horse near Caen, Wiltshire. He said, I was sitting with 7 people in the pub and we talked about how some people had created crop circles by thoughts, and we decided, hey, let's try that. Why not? He said we tried to create a crop circle in the field opposite. Mr. Bejan, who runs a company, Sky High Creations, which puts on talks and lectures about crop circles, said the group focused on an image taken from inside a church in Wiltshire during their crop circle-based meditation. However, he claimed the result was not instant, and the group was off target when their creation eventually formed. He said 2 days later, a crop circle that incorporated the crosses from the image they used formed 15 miles away from the pub, rather than the field directly opposite from the pub. He said on the 3rd day, there was a new crop circle 15 miles down the road. It is not an exact science, but okay, look at the crosses, he went on to say. He said if you reshape the crosses from the church image, the pattern in the crop circle was made in just 2 steps. He added, we thought about this image, and 2 days later, it happened. Mr. Bejan said Maki Masao, a Japanese professional debunker, had actually made a crop circle by co-creation in 2009. He said Maki Masao came here in 2009 to debunk crop circles, but was turned around and actually left a believer. He said he carried out an experiment to co-create a crop circle with a Japanese shape west of Silbury Hill in Wiltshire through meditation. Mr. Bejan said the next day this origami-shaped crop circle appeared west of Silbury Hill. The Dutch National showed an image on screen of an origami-shaped crop circle, which he said was the one that formed after Mr. Masao's experiment. Website, is it corncircler.dk, described... That
sounds dirty, corncircler.dk.
I know.
Yeah, don't really let your DK circle my corn, that's for sure.
You really don't want a corn circler anywhere near you. You really don't. Describe the same incident in this way. The form meditatively visualized to appear the next morning in that area by a Japanese group led by Masao Maki the night before. Mr. Bejan said there were other examples of co-creation. He showed an image of an intricate pattern featuring swallows said to have formed during a mist in 2008 in a field at a crop circle hotspot near Southfield. He said there was a large mist. Before the mist, they did not see anything. There was nothing there. Then the mist set in, and they were thinking, wouldn't it be nice if there was a co-creation? He said that an hour later, when the mist cleared, the crop circles were there. According to psychedelicadventure.net, the Many Swallows crop circle formed at Southfield on July 22, 2008. A second website, greatdreams.com, said comments from people who live in the area are these. One man who drove past the area at 4:30 a.m. said there was no formation in the field. Another man who drove past the field at 7:30 a.m. said the formation was there. That was on July 22, 2008. Again, website corncircler.dk described the same incident in this way. The form meditatively visualized to appear the next morning in that area by a Japanese group led by Masao Maki the night before. Mr. Bejan said there were other examples of co-creation. He showed an image of an intricate pattern featuring swallows said to have formed during the mist. It seems like it's repeating itself, but you get the idea. That,
So wait, we are not to believe that it's aliens, and we're not to believe that it's guys out there with boards and ropes. Right. It's actually people just focusing their intention. How, you know what, when you close your eyes, no matter how clean and concise an image you try to imagine, it's still very Van Gogh. It's very Picasso. It's not sharp, detailed lines, let alone detailed geometric patterns. I just have a hard time believing that by focusing your intention in mind, you could create something that concise.
Yeah. I agree with you. Yeah. To me, it would seem to take a lot of mind power to create something of that scope. I don't think that it's done with your mind. I think a board is more is more realistic.
Very strange. All right, where are we going to go next?
We go to a story that contains an eerie clip that shows the spirit of a woman supposedly wrongly sentenced to death centuries ago, pleading her innocence. The footage was shot in a pub in Greater Manchester and used to serve as the courthouse and appears to feature a ghostly voice shouting, "I never." A ghost hunter claims he has captured the spirit of a woman wrongly sentenced to death, pleading her innocence at an old 19th century courthouse in an eerie clip. The footage was shot in a pub in Greater Manchester that used to serve as the courthouse and appears to feature a ghostly voice shouting, "I never." Dad Sean Reynolds, 33 years old, who captured the spine-tingling video, said it is the clearest communication from a spirit that he's ever heard. Sean of Liverpool said the Old Market Tavern has had many uses throughout time, being used as a bank, a town hall, and even a courthouse. The landlady had reported many ghostly sightings here and refuses to enter certain parts of the building on her own. Paranormal incidents have included things like ghostly footsteps, bangs, and even apparitions that have been seen by staff that work at the pub. I'd been investigating the first floor on my own and had been experiencing explainable knocks and footsteps as if someone was in the room with me. Then as I asked for the spirit to make these noises again, I actually heard as clear as day with my own ears a ghostly voice reply to me. It was so clear that the spirit was saying, "I never." I am not sure what they meant. Maybe they were telling me that they never made the noises, or it could be that the spirit of someone that was sentenced to death during that period the building was used as a courthouse was still pleading their innocence. When I could hear what the ghost said, it made me shiver with excitement and also shocked that I had been in direct vocal communication with the spirit, not through any psychic gift, but psychically, and for everyone to hear with their own ears, or physically rather, and hear it with their own ears. I was the only person in the area, and this voice came from the same area I was in, and it had to be a spirit, he went on to say. Naturally, the first thing we did was try to debunk it and rule out any outside influence, but there was no one around to cause any audible interference. As a director and host of Ghost Dimension, I encounter paranormal activity all the time, but never have I been able to engage or hear a spirit's voice so clearly and record it on camera. It is a moment that I will never forget. Paranormal investigator Sean and his partner, 34-year-old Rebecca Palmer, captured the spirit's voice while filming for their TV series at the Old Market Tavern. Pub manager Karen Stevens has only been working at the tavern for about a year, but in that time has experienced a whole host of ghostly goings-on, such as lights being turned off and money being thrown off tables one note at a time. Imagine that, Dave. You're in a pub and money is being thrown off of the table one note at a time.
That's how I made my way through college, Tim, dancing and money raining on me while I was on stage.
I think I just lay on the floor the entire time I'm there. The building was even hit by lightning recently, making skeptic Karen believe that the pub must have a different energy about it. While she could put the odd sounds and sightings down to her mind playing tricks on her in the past, Karen said Sean and Rebecca's visit has made it all seem much more real. Karen said what Sean and Rebecca caught on camera is so scary, to think that it could be a spirit from the courthouse is really freaky. I don't really want to find out any more because I'm the one who's got to lock up on my own at night, she went on to say. Before, if I used to get a weird feeling in the cellar or hear something, I could tell myself I was being silly, But since they visited, it has given the idea that it could be something else more credibly. They were absolutely brilliant. When they were here, they got an awful lot of reads on activity. I think they were absolutely overwhelmed by the amount of activity there was here in the pub. I've personally had a few experiences. Once the lights randomly switched off, and then my phone went onto a strobe effect on its own. Then once I was counting some money in the back room, and the money started falling off the table, but the notes were falling off one by one, like they were being thrown and landed in a perfect circle. Oh, so they made it rain in a perfect circle. That is actually a player's perfect weapon in a strip club, Dave.
Nice.
To make it rain in a perfect circle. Yeah, that's a talented ghost. I called in the girls to show them because I just couldn't believe what I was seeing. It was the weirdest thing I had ever seen in my life, she went on to say. Clearly there is energy, and then there are different energies. I do believe that this place may have a different energy. That's all I can really say. It is a building with the most amazing history. And there you go.
All right, where shall we go next?
We continue on. This time, we continue on to the Bermuda Triangle for a mystery. An armchair investigator, Dave. Armchair investigator, which I think, we all can call ourselves armchair investigators from one time to another, claims that this theory links 75 missing planes. So you can pretty much find 75 missing planes by this theory from this armchair investigator.
All right, let's hear it.
Get ready for this one. The Bermuda Triangle, or Devil's Triangle, sits between the island of Bermuda, Puerto Rico, and Florida in the U.S. It's long been shrouded in mystery due to the disappearance of scores of aircraft and shrimps, yes. Scores of aircraft and ships in recent history.
You're going to say shrimps are the ones that keep taking down the planes? I knew
it's all shrimps and lobster.
Son of a biscuit.
When you're a little full, it'll make the ship sink.
Pardon me?
How I put that.
Yeah, very careful.
It'll make the ship sink.
Okay.
The triangle remains one of aviation's greatest mysteries, responsible for swallowing up 75 planes that have vanished without a trace. Most recently, a twin-engine MU-2B disappeared in May with a family on board. Conspiracy theories abound over the solution to the Great Bermuda Triangle mystery. Some believe paranormal activity is to blame. Others say it's a space-time warp. But one aviation expert believes the key to unlocking the mystery might be that it's not a mystery at all. Armchair plane crash investigator Christine Negroni thinks that there is a defined set of steps that lead to every incident. The author of The Crash Detectives told Express, "What I have learned is that the airliner accidents are unlikely to be mysterious in the conventional sense, that it is victims of some paranormal activity. However, they always lie at the end of an unbroken chain of events." Ms. Negroni believes that there is one common denominator to all of these unexplained plane disappearances, and that is human error, Dave. She said, "Examining that chain usually leads us to the most unpredictable enigma of all, the human. Whether it is the pilot, mechanic, engineer, or designer, human error is the most consistent factor that will, in rare cases, lead air travelers to harm. This might sound alarming to the average airplane passenger, who must put complete faith in these humans who are engineering their ride, but Ms. Negroni said the human element is actually a notion which should put travelers at ease, not the other way around."
Yeah, I'm already done with this lady and her theories as an armchair quarterback. We've heard from too many people that have had bizarre things. And is it error? Is it operator error when all of your instruments start spinning and freaking out? Or is that some kind of otherworldly or magnetic interference? I don't know that I'd necessarily put it on the shoulders of the operator that these things are taking place.
I'm just trying to go into her theory here to see what...
Well, it sounds like her theory is that it's operator error.
Well, she explains, miraculously, the same error-prone human is resilient and resourceful beyond comprehension, which is why aviation is so very safe. So she's arguing it's safe for the same reason that it's not. She says these positive and negative characteristics of humans are the most wonderful mystery of all. The human error explanation has been supported by many aviation experts in recent years. Another popular theory involves the region's hexagonal clouds creating 170-mile-an-hour wind air bombs, which would wreak havoc on both sea vessels and aircraft. And
I've had a couple of nights with some wind air bombs that'll knock a lot of things out of the sky.
Right, and I've knocked a few people over at the table with them too when you go to White Castle. Yeah, so that's pretty much the name of that tune on that story there.
Huh? Yeah, not real impressed with that. I'm not putting a person down. It just doesn't seem like. Obviously, there is going to be a faction of them that will be operator error because mistakes happen. I do understand that, but I think there's something else weird going on, whether it's environmental or something along those lines. I just think there's something else weird going on, that there's that much that takes place in that chunk of water. Although I don't know, have there been real, we'll have to talk to, Rob McGregor and Bruce Gernon and get them back on the show for an update. It's been 12 years since we had the pair of them on together. Maybe we should revisit. But are there studies done on other parts of water? If I were to draw a octagonal design in the ocean, could we track and find planes that went down and boats that vanished in that area too?
No, that's a good question.
I'm curious if any kind of work and research has been done specifically on that theory. So, I don't know. All right, where are we going to round out here?
Well, we got two more left. Uh-huh. This one, we go to the world of entertainment for the last two stories. Mm-hmm. In this one, it involves Alice Cooper and Joe Perry having a paranormal experience, and it has nothing to do with alcohol, drugs, or hookers.
I don't think I believe any of the story now.
Alice Cooper and Joe Perry were once forced to flee a haunted house shortly after the rockers were released from rehab. Yes, Dave, they were clean. Alice met up with the Aerosmith guitarist in the early 80s at an old home in New York to write songs for Perry's 1984 movie Monster Dog, but the musicians weren't prepared for the supernatural disturbances they experienced during the collaboration. Every time I would put something down, I'd go in the other room, I'd come back, and the object, was in some other place. Alice recalls to Rolling Stone the creepy haunting. It was more playful than scary. We were both just out of rehab, so we figured we were just insane. But we knew it was real when the two road guys with us said, geez, I know I put them there, and they were on the other side of the room when I came back. Although playful at first, the haunting quickly escalated in intensity. That night at dinner, there's a basement right under us, and it sounds like somebody's moving furniture down there. It's not just a bump or a little thing. It sounds like 20 people are moving furniture, Cooper remembered, noting that the terrifying bangs prompted himself and Perry to jet out of the house immediately. And it's not like movies where you go, let's go see what that is. It was more like, do you know where the car keys are? We got to get out of there that night, he added. Alice's manager, Shep Gordon, later informed the Star that, I believe this is the Kopacki House, was where author Jay Anson had written his famous 1977 book, The Amityville Horror, a recounting of the alleged demon-inspired Lutz family slayings in 1974. I went, and you were going to tell me about this when? Cooper laughed. So, yeah, that was paranormal. I can't explain any of that. So there you go. Alice Cooper, Joe Perry, paranormal experience, no imbibing involved.
All right. And one more story here in the entertainment world. What have you got for us?
One more story, and we're talking about Rob Lowe.
Again?
I will. Yeah, again, yeah. I'll tell you this much. I did sit down with an open mind, Dave. I sat down and I watched an interview this week with Rob Lowe and Seth Meyers. And he was talking about the new show. He was talking about the Lowe Files.
Right.
I cringed a little.
See, I watched the actual episode. I thought it was okay. I thought it was.
Did you?
Yeah, it was entertaining, and it'll be interesting. I was kind of more enthralled with what's coming up this season and some of the topics that they're going to cover. So I'll give it a chance to shake out and see what happens. But I think it seemed like a fun show to me.
I think I got to watch an episode because the way he was describing some of the equipment he was using, it was cringeworthy.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, there is that. He did use the Ovilus. He used some of Bill Chappell's items. So
that's
it was
what he was describing.
Right.
Yeah. The way he described the Ovilus was the way you'd ask a kindergartner to describe a car. It was
well, but he's an actor. He's not an engineer. And I think, some of the stuff they're giving him the tool, telling him, hey, this is what they use on these shows. So I can see him using them and just having the bare understanding. I mean, hell, we've been on these events where people have spent thousands of dollars buying the equipment and they don't even really know how it works.
True.
So
but
I give this.
I'll defend Bill here because I know Bill encourages the people who use these things on television shows to really study up on it. He gives them all the tools to study up on these equipment.
Right, but I will tell you this: I informed Bill Chappell, and he didn't know that that Rob Lowe was using that on the episode.
Oh, he did?
No. So, see, they don't have to, as long as they buy it, they don't have to get permission for most of it to use the equipment if they've purchased it. So,
well, Rob Lowe, shame on you.
Yeah. So that's it. Again, well, not him. It's the people behind the show and giving a piece of equipment, kind of saying what it does. And, a lot of really proficient paranormal investigators are not quite sure what it does. So I give him a little bit, like I said, I'm going to be interested to see how this thing unfolds through the season, and I'll check out a couple more episodes. We've put out an invitation to Rob and his boys to appear on our show, so hopefully we'll hear from them and get a chance. I just think it's great that this is something that he and his boys are passionate about, and I think it's fun that, boy, what a great opportunity if we could take our kids out on the road and show them all these great places and put them in these experiences. I think that'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I don't disagree there, not at all. Rob Lowe talked to a ghost while filming his new paranormal show. He said it said the dead woman's name. The reality star opened up about his alleged run-in with the legendary beast Bigfoot as well. It looks like Rob Lowe just added another incident to his list of bizarre confessions after revealing that he had an almost fatal encounter with the mythical animal Bigfoot. The American actor now says that he has even talked to an actual ghost while filming the new reality series, The Lowe Files. The paranormal series that documents Lowe and his sons Matthew and John Owen is set to air this August. Speaking about the particular experience with spirits during the show's promotions, the actor confessed that he communicated via the Ovilus. This was, I think, part of the he talked about it too on Seth Meyers' show too. This interview that they're talking about. He says there's a device they use that the theory is that it can translate, that the spirits can talk through this device, for lack of a better term. Don't ask me how. Don't ask me the science. I don't know. He told a journalist at the Television Critics Association's press tour on Friday. The former Parks and Recreation star continued, John just thinks it's randomly programmed to say words at any given time, which it could be, but how does it know how to say the word? It said the dead woman's name when she was murdered, or where she was murdered. Judge for yourself. I don't want to seem like a nut, the 53-year-old TV star explained, despite the general skepticism over the revelation, jokingly adding, I don't want to end my career here. Too late? Earlier, the Outsider's star spoke about his alleged encounter with the legendary beast while shooting his paranormal docuseries. We had an incredible encounter with what locals call the wood ape, Sasquatch. He said, we're 100 miles from the nearest town. There are a lot of serious former military men loaded with loaded weapons. Then something starts approaching our campsite is defying their orders to stop and their warnings that they were armed. Adding that he was genuinely terrified by the experience, Lowe admits that he might sound like a crazy Hollywood kook. Although the existence of the so-called creature is yet to be confirmed, the reality star maintains that nothing is staged, nothing is trick cut, no BS. The Lowe Files, like Dave said, has already premiered, and Dave has already seen one of those episodes. It premiered back on August 2nd.
And he's just so pretty. I want to be on an episode just to protect him, Tim. I want to stand between the demons and Rob Lowe. Does that make me a bad guy?
Now who's being weird? Let me tell you this. This is what was weird about the interview, and the interview I watched with Seth Meyers. Mm-hmm. In one respect, he did pull the same line with Seth about the Ovilus. I don't know. It could have been pre-programmed. I don't know. John Owen, he was saying the same thing. It could have just been words programmed in there, but it said this and it said this. And when we walked into the kitchen, it said pie. And then in the next breath, he's talking about the episode with Sasquatch, and he's saying, you don't say Sasquatch anymore. That's a bad word. You don't use the word Sasquatch. You use the word wood ape now. Wood ape is the in term. You can't say Sasquatch, and Bigfoot are dirty words in the community.
Well, that's because I think he's trying to make his mark, right? You've got Finding Bigfoot, you've got the Squatchers, and I think he's just trying to come up with his own deal that he can trademark.
Yeah, so in one respect, you want to come across as hip and knowing and on the cutting edge of the cryptid community. On the other, you can't tell me how an Ovilus works. I
understand that there's a difference between the names and understanding the engineering behind a piece of equipment. And I can tell people this. The Ovilus is, you can't crack it. If you break it open or try to mess with the guts, it shuts itself down and you can't use it again. Bill specifically built it that way so people weren't screwing with it. Mm-hmm. And he made it to the point so it's protected. And the idea that was preloaded with words for that episode is shenanigans. That just isn't possible. I wonder if it's the brand new Ovilus or the one where I'm the voice of the Ovilus. It'll be great. Were they using the female voice, which would be our good friend Susan?
It was a male voice. They showed a small clip, and it was a male voice, and it was. I didn't recognize the voice. But it was a newer generation.
All right. Well, I'll have to ask Bill if he's seen it yet, and whose voice that was. Because hey, I might have been on a TV show with Rob Lowe after all.
Well, I would have recognized your voice. It wasn't yours.
That was one word. Maybe you didn't recognize that one word.
It was
Give me my due. Shut up. I think I'm the only male voice. I think I'm the only male voice on the Ovilus.
I don't know.
Wow. I've been replaced.
What's that?
I've been replaced?
I think Bill might have replaced. I think he pulled
a biscuit.
Yeah, he pulled the dick move on you and probably replaced you.
So I'm the David Prowse to the new James Earl Jones voice being prompted over me?
Yep.
I call shenanigans. What kind of crap is that? Get Bill Chappell on the phone. Where's my attorneys? All right. You know what? If you don't mind, I've got two other news stories that I'd like to cover here. For those of you that might not have seen it, which is ridiculous because everybody and their brother sent me this story, we're going to Washington for this story. Think of it as a real-life Man in Black. NASA is currently looking to hire someone to protect the planet from aliens. Sadly, it has little to do with working with little green men or the X-Files. The proper title for the position is Planetary Protection Officer, PPO. And according to the job posting, it belongs to the Office of Safety and Mission Assurance for Planetary Protection. According to the job listing, the PPO will be in charge of preventing alien microbes from contaminating the Earth. In other words, the role involves stopping astronauts and robots from getting contaminated with any organic or biological material during space travel, according to Newsweek. Planetary Protection is concerned with the avoidance of organic, constituent, and biological contamination in human and robotic space exploration, because you don't want the robots infected with some kind of brain-eating or amoeba, Tim. That's how Skynet begins. The position pays pretty well. Are you ready for this, Tim?
I'm ready.
$124,406 up to $187,000 a year.
I'll protect the Earth from nothing for that.
NASA said it's looking for applicants with broad engineering experience and willingness to travel. To where? No one knows. CNBC reports that the lucky person will be one of only 2 PPOs in the world. The others work for the European Space Agency. The job only lasts 3 years, with the possibility of extending the position another 2 years. If you feel qualified, you can apply at USA Jobs. Applications will be accepted until August 14th. Maybe I should send that to Bill. He's getting frustrated. But here's the follow-up to that story. For this one, we're going to go to Pasadena, California, where a 9-year-old boy wants to protect Earth from aliens, or so he told NASA in a letter. Science fiction movie fan Jack Davis answered the agency's ad seeking candidates to fill out its new Planetary Protection Officer position. I may be 9, but I think I would be the fit for the job, the 4th grader wrote in his application. One of the reasons is my sister says I am an alien. Also, I have seen almost all the space and alien movies I can see. Davis went further. I have also seen the show Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and hope to see the movie Men in Black. He wrote, I am great at video games. I'm young, so I can learn to think like an alien. He signed the letter, Jack Davis, Guardian of the Galaxy, 4th grade. In technical terms, a PPO, again, would assist with the avoidance of organic constituent and biological contamination in human and robotic space exploration, according to the advertisement posted online last week. And they responded. Jack received a letter from Dr. James L. Green, the director of NASA's Planetary Science Division, thanking the boy for his interest. Sadly, That letter didn't come with a job offer, but it did include some advice. We're always looking for bright future scientists and engineers to help us. So, I hope you will study hard and do well in school. We hope to see you here at NASA one of these days, Green wrote. That's cute. Aww. Little 9-year-old signing it, Guardian of the Galaxy. That's awesome. That is awesome. And here's a good thing. The kid he was proactive. My kids, they'd be like, is it going to interfere with my time on my Kindle, Dad? I don't think I can protect the Earth then.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. At least they know their limitations. That's all I can say, Tim.
Well, you got to have your Kindle time.
Hey, Tim and Dave. That's how this email begins. Thought I would switch up and make Tim feel special being named first this time.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Anyway, I heard about your show from a work friend, and I've been listening for a few months, and now I've started to just look up at night and watch the stars when we're camping, and the night is clear. We live in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. I think that's right near San Antonio, Texas, Tim, right over the border from there.
Yeah, it is. Actually.
We were out camping about an hour out of town, very close to the Canadian border, with another family. And after it got dark and all the kids were in bed, I was telling them about your show. And they started poking fun, asking me about my foil hat. Oh, really? Oh, really? Why don't you just send us a picture of each one of these people that scoffed at you for listening to our show and their names? And if you could give us a hair clipping or a tooth from each one of them, don't worry about what we're going to do with it. But it's just, it's for scientific purposes, I swear. So they started poking fun, asking me about my foil hat. My wife is going on about how I believe in the UFOs and Bigfoot and flat earth stuff. And then I told them that if they didn't believe me, just look up. And I said, I bet we can see something out here. There are so many stars, and it's a super clear night. So, as it got late, we see a couple of satellites and an airplane blinking. And then my buddy says, what's that one then? So we all turn around and look up in the sky, extremely bright, 2 to 3 times brighter than any star in the sky. We saw a light moving fairly quickly across the sky, a lot faster than the airplanes we saw earlier. As we watched for about 30 seconds or so until it disappeared and the trees blocked our view of it, I turned my friends and wife and said, there, explain that. They all sat quietly and could not say what it was. And I'm not asking if it was aliens, but it was definitely an object flying that we could not identify. A week later, out at my sister's acreage, we saw a very similar sight, but no trees to block our view as it streaked across the sky. But this time, it just suddenly disappeared. 1 second there, the next gone. Well, that's it. Not as exciting as some, but hey, a story from Canada. You don't get those every day. Keep up the great work and show. And thanks to you, my friend Dale and I are planning on a trip to the Isetti Ranch next summer with our wives. Thanks for reading. And that's from James from Edmonton. Well, thank you, James. We appreciate that. Here's what it could be. Let's go into, so when he talks about this to his friends, Tim, he can say we did try to give them scientific, background. It sounds like it could have been a satellite. Because at the height the satellites are flying, they're going to appear to be moving a lot faster, and they might be moving a lot faster. And sometimes you'll see them flare up and light up, and that's because at the apex or that part of the sky that they're hitting, the sun may be reflecting. But Dave, the sun's not out. You're right. The sun is not out. But at the height that they're at, they may be catching the reflection of the sun from whatever position the sun is at. So there is that distinct possibility that that is what you saw. And then when it suddenly and mysteriously vanished in front of your eyes, it may have just hit that point where it was no longer visible. Yeah. The sunlight wasn't hitting it at that point. And boom, that just shuts off that light. And it's probably still up in the sky. It just wasn't reflecting or deflecting. So that's a possibility.
Yeah.
You like that? Yeah, look at that, huh? Science, Tim. Science! Hello, Dave and Tim. My name is Jesse, and I'm from Bradenton, Florida. I have 2 similar stories. One is for my mom and from me. A few months ago, my neighbor's daughter died from cancer at the age of 8. Her name is Yanari. A few weeks after her funeral, I overheard my mom talking to Victoria, the mother, about how she had a dream about Yanari, smiling and happy. She told my mom that she was doing well and is happy where she is. She also told her to tell her mom and everyone that she will miss us and was heading off. I can tell my mom was holding in her tears when she told the story and made Victoria happy. My dream was about my best friend Poochie. He was a Chihuahua mixed with a poodle. 10 years ago, my little brother found him in the street, but noticed that he was really skinny, broken bottom jaw, no teeth, and his tail was cut off. He was already old when I first met him, and he had the spirit of a young puppy. Poochie has always been by my side during my depression, fear of dying and being suicidal, but he always made me smile, and when I got back from school, he would wake me up by barking or licking my face. Although he had the spirit of a young pup, his body was old and another story. He had a few strokes once in a while, and I knew something wasn't right, but I didn't want the thought of him dying in my mind. Well, on May 6th, I told my aunt to talk to a vet to check on him, and I was too late. I called him outside to use the bathroom, but he had trouble standing. I picked him up, took him outside to use the bathroom. After using the bathroom, he took a few steps before he fell down. I picked him up again and brought him inside so he wouldn't struggle to walk. As I get inside, I noticed that his heart started to beat slowly and slowly and slowly. "You okay, Poochie?" I asked, with hesitation in my voice. But before I could ask him again, he passed away in my hands. I covered him up in a blanket, buried him, made a cross, and put my rosary on it. That same week, I visited him to say my hellos and be with him for a few minutes before I fell asleep. I had a dream that I was outside of my house minding my own business when I heard a familiar bark. I looked down and saw Poochie, happy and energetic as ever. I picked him up, hugged him, and cried as I shouted, "Mom, it's Poochie, he's alive!" I woke up in the middle of the night with tears of joy on my face. I wiped away the tears and went back to sleep with a smile, knowing that I got to see my best friend one more time. I wear a Celtic cross to remember him. I gave it to Poochie as a good luck about a year ago when he got sick. This is just my thought, and I think some people get to see their loved ones sooner than most people, but that is just my guess. Love the show, and I'm happy that I hear you guys on Talk is Jericho. Thank you for so many stories of the paranormal. I am really, really sorry that I made this super long. I wanted to share the story and didn't think it would be this long, and I hope Tim gets well very soon. Well, that's very sweet. Tim is getting better. Every day, in every way, he's getting bigger, better, and stronger. He's like the $6 million man on a budget.
Yeah, I don't quite have $6 million.
No.
More like $695.
Hello, fellas. I hesitated sharing this because it's more of a head scratcher than outright terrifying, but I hope you enjoy. It's also on the long side, so I understand if it can't be read on air. Well, I like that they're giving us the opportunity to pull out if we want to.
Okay, we're done.
Yeah. No, I do odd jobs for a living, and one of the most common gigs I get is cleaning garages. A few years ago, a lady hired me to clear her garage of bugs. She didn't specify what kind of bugs, but I saw she lived near a park, so I assumed it was things like ants or bees or spiders. After taking these kind of gigs a few times, I realized I really don't like handling pissed off bugs. It's like they know you're there to exterminate them, Starship Trooper style, so they get extra fast and aggressive. To avoid embarrassing scenes like screaming and flailing wildly when a roach runs up under my shirt, I simply take a vacuum to suck them all up. Reflecting on this now, maybe the loud rattling vacuum is what aggravates the bugs, but I like that they know what's coming. Yeah, it's a sportsman kind of way to handle it. I appreciate that. Getting back on track, I headed out to her house and she met me by the garage and back. She was supernaturally beautiful, like one of those supermodel elves from Lord of the Rings. Oh my God, your nerd card is flying high, Dean. That's all I gotta say. I started to stammer out a proposal there and then, but luckily she interrupted by explaining the layout of the garage. I asked why she didn't just open the garage door and show me, and with a worried, unsettling look, she said she didn't want to go in there. Didn't even want to look until I was done. Now I was thinking there were brown recluses and plague rats and flying snakes. But I didn't want to disappoint my future elf wife, so I carried on. She handed me a box of grimy cleaning bottles and a long rusty grill fork, then retreated to her stucco castle. That is the tools of the trade, Tim.
Oh, yeah.
Grimy cleaning bottles and long rusty grill forks. The fork was hefty, twisted wrought iron. You could use it to flip steaks or fend off a dogman attack. The tips were poked and starting to mushroom like it was regularly used to stab concrete, but it was still good for whatever the hell it was she thought I would need it for. Dude, if somebody arms me with a wrought iron fork to go to battle, I am not your man. That's all I gotta say. After a few minutes of sucking up the usual bugs and webs, I turned off the vacuum to let it cool off. Even with cheapo earplugs, my ears were still ringing from having the loud vacuum running in what's essentially an echo chamber, so I couldn't hear much, but somehow I still clearly heard a scratching. Was it in my head? That's the only reason I can think of for being able to hear it then. It was familiar, something like pins perforating cardboard. I turned toward the sound and had no idea what I was looking at as something was slowly crawling up and out from behind a wooden desk I had already cleaned. The crawler was blackish brown and about the size of my balled up fist. I know this because I immediately hopped over there and hammer fisted it. That's one of my favorite adult movies, Hammer Fist.
It's wonderful. Yeah,
I hammer fisted it before it could fly or jump at me and impregnate my face. Oh my God. I don't know why I had such a visceral reaction. The thing made my hairs stand on my end with only a glance, and I just wanted it gone. Instinctively, damn, I wish we would have saved this story for a theater of the mind, too. Instinctively, I scraped the bottom of my hand on the desk's edge to get rid of any bug guts, but there was nothing there. My hand was clean, and there was no sign of splatter on the desk. I convinced myself I had missed and quickly got back to cleaning elsewhere. As an aside, I know you guys are boggled by how people can just shrug off something weird like that, and I am too, even after the freaky stuff I've experienced. I think it's a survival mechanism the brain has where it convinces you everything is fine so you don't immediately go insane. A few minutes later, I noticed another one of those clunky things lumbering in front of some boxes on a shelf that I had already cleaned. Whatever they weren't speed demons. I don't know where they were coming from because there was nowhere that they could have been hiding. Instead of setting the garage on fire and blaming it on faulty electrical outlet like I should have done, I did the worst possible thing. I got curious, and I wanted to get a better look. On the way back to the shelf, I picked up a thick book and used it to shield my nose and mouth just in case this thing got any ideas. I'm sure the powerful, dazzling image of Liberace on the cover also served as a deterrent.
Oh, of course, yeah.
I think I love this letter, Tim. To the best of my memory, here's a description of it. From standing about a meter away, there were very short, stout horns on the body, and it looked like it had a dull, hard shell. It was an almost uniform thickness, but the butt looked segmented like a fat moth. I dated her. There was no clear head that I could see, so maybe it was like a scorpion face or no face at all. There were 4 or 5 pairs of legs attached along its sides in even spacing, and they were shaped in a way that looked like you could flip the thing on its back and the legs would just noodle the other way to let it walk as usual. It's tough to explain. All I can do is compare it to the bugs I recognize and shrug because it shouldn't have looked like that. It looked artificial with an unnatural symmetry. The uncertain way it moved made me think it couldn't see where it was going, like a mad scientist's failed experiment. I almost felt sorry for it. Sounds like the work of magic elves, Tim.
Yep.
I quickly forced myself out of that state of mind and threw Liberace's beaming mug at it. But the thing vanished, just like the other. A few minutes of cleaning later, I spotted another one coming out of the skate shoe. I really don't want to suck one of those into my vacuum to take home, and I was all out of garish literature to use as ammunition.
There was no Barry Manilow lying around?
So I double-timed the cleaning. I saw a few more of those things appear, but they were out of my way, so I ignored them. Nice job. Aren't you there to get rid of the insects? You keep seeing them and just ignoring them is kind of the opposite of the job you're there for. I ignored them and hoped they would just keep ignoring me until I was done. The lady probably noticed through the window that I was packing up because she was waiting outside when I got out of the garage. She cautiously asked if I got all the bugs, and I told her, "You know I didn't." She gave me $20 and a defeated look for my troubles. Then I walked away with my rickety vacuum and never saw the Elf Queen or her questionable library again.
Aw.
Oh, Dean, thank you for the laugh. That made my day. Oh, my God. I love emails like that, Tim. That was so beautifully written. There were pauses, and there was everything you could possibly want, Tim. It was excellently executed, beautifully done. I think we should just end on that right there. We'll be back again next week. Actually, Tim will with a special guest to bring you supernatural news and ParaShare, as I will be in merry old England doing an investigation. If I can, I'll try to find a way to Skype in at some point, Tim, and visit with you guys. But I'll be out in England, and we'll be back. Actually, that's next week. We're doing all special best of episodes, right? Some of our favorite episodes from the last 12 years. Mm-hmm. And do again, who do you have in mind for that? We've got some Dan Aykroyd.
We got some Dan Aykroyd. We've got some appearances by Lorraine Warren coming up next week, and some other surprises as well.
Very cool. But the following week, you'll be back with supernatural news and all the fun stuff. Well, that's it for tonight. Remember to check out True Crime Tuesday tomorrow. We are taking this very seriously. Everybody that has signed up from the beginning until September 1st, we will be doing a drawing for 3 of you lucky son of a bitches to get a full 1-year subscription to True Crime Tuesday. So if you subscribe right now, you will be entered into that drawing. And on September 1st, we'll do the drawing and then make an announcement on air. You could be one of those lucky people to get a full 1-year subscription to the best in True Crime Talk Radio. Go subscribe right now by visiting darknessradio.com and then click on the True Crime Tuesday banner and subscribe. And I want to make another quick mention here, Tim. This is amazing. Over 3 million cars have been sold, over 13,000 dealers, and over 700,000 pre-owned vehicles are available through True Car, with an average savings of over $3,000 off the manufacturer's suggested retail price. There's just something about True Car that a lot of people don't know, and that's when using True Car. You also help buy a used car. They're going to help you out in ways you've never even known. You're going to find out if the car that you're looking at and the price that you're being quoted is what other people are paying for this vehicle. You're going to know all of the incentives. You're going to know all the benefits of this car before you even step foot on the lot. And it's guaranteed to be a car that's actually in stock. There are over 700,000 pre-owned vehicles available right now from True Car certified dealers nationwide. And with True Car, you connect with a local certified dealer of your choosing so you can enjoy a quick and easy buying experience. Using True Car, you can easily find the new or used car that you want. So True Car shows all their customers all their available incentives before you arrive at the dealership. And with over 3 million cars having already been sold to True Car users by the True Car Certified Dealer Network, you can't go wrong. Again, there are over 13,000 True Car Certified dealers nationwide. So when you're ready to buy a new or previously owned car, visit TrueCar.com to enjoy a more confident car buying experience. Some features are not available in all states. For Tim Dennis, I'm Dave Schrader. You've been listening to the best in paranormal talk radio. This is Beyond the Darkness.